Meet Dave Lizewski. He's just some kid in high school. He's got no powers, he doesn't train, he's not even particularly tough. He just reads comics. A lot of them. And one day he starts to think, why hasn't anyone actually tried to be a superhero? Not in the movies or in the comics. In real life. So he buys a suit, goes outside, and tries it. And the second he does, he steps into a world he's completely unprepared for. Dave always wondered why nobody did it before him. There's so much comic books and movies out there. Are you telling me not one of them? Not one little loser stuck on a costume and broke free of normal life. Feeling the wind rush through your hair. Knowing the feeling of flight. Knowing you can make a difference. That's not Dave, by the way. That's a random Armenian man with a history of mental illness who read about Dave in the New York Post. This is Dave. When he first put the mask on, he never pictured himself in this situation. He thought he'd be leaping over rooftops or chasing purse snatchers. But this is the reality when you mess with bad people. But before we get to that, let's start from the beginning. He's not a jock and he's not really a geek either. But that's up for debate in my opinion. He just sort of exists. He was your average mid-2000s high schooler. He loves Scrubs, loves Snow Patrol and everything Ryan Reynolds. You know, basic 08 starter pack. He loved having wet dreams about that one teacher in school that wore a low top, getting caught staring at her all the time too. A real basic 15-year-old. Stalked a girl in class who he knew he hadn't a chance with. His mother died last year, but she wasn't taken out by a hitman or something. An aneurysm got her in the end. So not exactly the superhero backstory he wanted. He sat in his room listening to his father crying all night. I'm sure you can see how he got into comic books. It was the escape from mediocrity. One day he asked his friend while reading an X-Men comic, why hasn't anyone tried this yet in real life? You know, putting on the mask and helping people. But they tell him it's because not everybody is crazy and willing to risk their lives for strangers. Also, there's no money to be made in it. Everyone would rather be a rock star. But he would rather be Peter Parker than Paris Hilton. Why train for years to do a job you hate? He doesn't want to be a lawyer or a bank manager. You only get one life and he wants an exciting one. So when his dad leaves one night to go to his night shift, something extraordinary happens. He looks himself up and down in his new suit for the first time thinking, you don't need trauma or shit like that to wear the suit. No parents need to be shot. You don't need cosmic rays or a power ring. You just need to be extremely lonely and bored. He looks fucking awesome, he thinks. He patrols the rooftops and streets for weeks on end. There wasn't much crime fighting going on. He did look like a little weirdo though, balancing on roofs in a wetsuit he bought on eBay. But he still felt cool and that's all that mattered to him. He even wore it under his clothes in school. He started working out. He spent every night trying to come up with a cool name. Nothing really happened though. Until that one fateful night that will change his life forever. He turned the corner and seen a group of kids spray painting a wall nearby. He thinks about what to say and what to do, but before he can open his mouth, they spot him. And he looks like a complete weirdo standing there. He's frozen with fear until they ask him what he's looking at. Then the confidence of the mask kicks in. 3 homos making a mess, he confidently shouts. One of them gets unbelievably pissed off. The other says he's just high. But he tells them, oh, I'm not high. I'm just pissed off with guys like you making this place even more of a shithole. Get the fuck out of my face. He just absolutely caves the poor bloke's skull in. The other dodges and scissor kicks him in the balls. He tries to fight back, but it's no use. They're going to take his mask off. They need to know who did this, but even he doesn't know. He hasn't even thought of a name yet. Well, fucko, you just got your ass kicked. What? They just stab him and leave him. Now remember, this was long before the others showed up. Back when putting on a mask and tights was weirdo behaviour. A masked man with his guts hanging out wasn't normal. So he doesn't really blame them for driving on. 2 broken legs, a crushed spine, and he's dressed like a pervert. His dad is going to kill him. Later he wakes up in a hospital bed and he's completely fucked. He remembers it all though. He can't believe he's putting his dad through all of this. They found him in that costume. He knows everything. How is he going to explain that? What happened to you, son? He says. What were you doing naked in the street? Naked? What? He thanks every god in existence. But how? He doesn't think too much about it. Everyone thinks he just got mugged. He thinks this could be the end of everything before it even starts. He doesn't even know if he'll walk again. But after 2 months of surgeries and counselling, and 3 metal plates put in his head, he finally got to go home. Then another 2 months later, he was back in school as if nothing happened, and he's acting the hard man in front of all his friends. But later that night, all the superhero shit just made him angry now. He even burned all his comics and costume designs, vowing to never do that again. But who was he kidding? As soon as he was off the crutches, he was back on the streets. He keeps calling himself an R-word as well. Even though the neighbour kids think he's a weirdo because he was found naked, they think he's a flasher or something. He doesn't care. Nothing will stop him from being a superhero. Suddenly a man is flung into him, knocking him down. Then another man shouts in his face to move, while they kick the fuck out of the first guy. They give him one last warning. But this is his chance. His time to shine. Was he brave or just stupid? Not a chance. He beats them senseless. He actually did it. He won a fight. He screams for the onlookers to call the cops. They're going to kill this guy if you don't. They just hit him with a bin. The guys he just beat are now back on their feet, kicking the absolute shit out of him, as everyone gathers and watches. But that's when something unlikely happens. Jesus Christ. He gets back to his feet and kicks their asses. They think he's fucking nuts and run away. His teeth are smashed. His ribs are cracked. He can't even see anymore. But he won. Everyone looking on starts going crazy. But the important thing is that the guy he saved was okay. Man, this is going straight on YouTube. The video is everywhere now. 10,000 views on YouTube back in the day wasn't something to laugh about. We were basically famous on the internet. In fact, he immediately became a local celebrity. He was a real life superhero. They talked about it on the news, talk shows, and the best thing of all, he finally had a name. Kick-Ass. And people, well, they were talking about nothing but him. In school, he had a newfound swagger in his walk. People just thought he got mugged again. Even his crush didn't completely ignore him this time. The teacher even called him her boyfriend, and she doesn't correct her. Oh my god, what is happening, he thinks. Why is he this cool? But that's when his bubble gets popped. His best friend, Toddy Haynes, tells him the only reason everyone's treating him so nicely is that a rumour went around that he got mugged twice because he's been pimping his ass in the village. What? He says? They all think it's his clients that's beating him up for their money back. That's why his crush wants to hang out with him now? Oh my god. She sees him as her new gay best friend. It all makes sense now. He was the sexually non-threatening male companion she always wanted. He liked her so much though, he just played along with it. He's so pathetic. Later at a diner, his dad asks him to take a pepper spray because he can't keep getting beaten up like this. He loves him and just wants him to be safe. Dave hates lying to his dad, but he had a wild animal inside of him that couldn't be tamed. Dave Lizewski had 8 friends on MySpace, but Kick-Ass had thousands. It's time for his first rooftop jump. But in the comics, it always seemed closer. Real life is a different story. Maybe another time. But his real life was starting to look like a comic. People loved him. Like, really loved him. He told everyone to message him their problems, and he would try and help them out a little. It's better than just patrolling and hoping for something to pop out at him. His first mission was to get this guy Eddie Lomas to stop calling and harassing his ex. And as he came up to his address, a giant man stood at the door. This wasn't Eddie though. He was inside. Little early for Halloween, he says. This is Eddie's cousin, and he can't wait for them to see this loser in a scuba suit. He really didn't think this through though. He's alone in a room with 5 to 6 grown-ups who don't look like the friendliest people. And he's about to tell one of them to stop harassing his ex. Yeah, great plan. He asks if he's seen him on the TV, and he didn't. Then he explains why he's there, and he takes it as a threat. But it's not a threat, he says. Just leave her alone. Or what? The fuck you gonna do about it? You walk in here like John fucking Wayne, telling me what to do? Well, fuck you, prick. I can call, talk, or fuck that bitch anytime I like. Now, what are you gonna say to that? Leave the girl alone, or I break your fucking legs. He just pepper sprays him. He catches them all off guard, but the woman picks up a bottle and cracks it off his skull. Another guy picks him up and nearly puts him through a concrete wall. Eddie says hold him down as he picks up the broken bottle and he's about to end him. What the fuck? A little girl just shish kebabbed Eddie. Dave can't believe his eyes. Tough guys, huh? The room is in shock. Okay, you cunts. Let's see what you can do. She was like Rambo and Polly Pocket all at the same time. She handled her weapons like a surgeon. She left no one alive that day. No one except Dave. She tells him to relax. They're on the same side. Now let's get the hell out of here. The cops are coming. Dave wants to talk, but she doesn't. As he watches her majestically complete the jump he pussied out on earlier. She lands and high-fives a giant man. Who the hell are these people? Fuck off. He couldn't believe his eyes of what he's seeing. They walk the walk. They talk the talk. Blindly jumping off buildings without blinking. These two were the real deal. And he was just a prick in a Halloween costume. He had a big problem right now though. He walked in there trying to help people. And walked out leaving 5 dead bodies behind. He couldn't sleep. He was waiting for the cops to kick down his door. But they never came. He checked the news and they chalked it up to a gang-related crime. He got away. Well, to be fair, he never killed anyone. He later called up Eddie's ex that gave him the mission, in the first place, to tell her he didn't do it. But she just says, yeah, sure you didn't. But she doesn't care, as the world is a better place without him. In his head, that was it. The kick-ass stuff was over. He searched the internet for the other 2 heroes, but he couldn't find anything. Just fetish websites and weirdos. But Big Daddy and Hit Girl were nowhere to be seen. At school, he's continuing his little lie with his crush, as she literally hands him gay, you-know-what videos, and even asks if he gets a boner when he looks at himself, cause, he likes men, and he's a man. And he says, yeah, it happens all the time. So sad. He's at the comic shop one day trying to clear his head of all the gruesome murders he just witnessed, when him and his friends notice a boy they'd never seen before, buying literally every new issue they had. He asked them who he is, and it turns out he's some mob boss's son. A gangster's kid is a geek, just like him, huh? Back at said gangster's house, he's trying to figure out who's committing all these recent murders. All of his men are dying. They have images of the pair doing it, but he thinks it's a joke. He wants to know who these people are, and he wants to know now. They say, what about this kick-ass guy? You think he's involved? But they just shut that idea down and say, no way, he's just some kid. Are you sure? The head of the family asks. Yeah, he says, these 2 are professionals. That kid couldn't fight his way out of a paper bag. Fuck. Teddy, he says, I want Cheadle to prioritise this. He's done messing around now. He wants 2 bullets in their skulls, and their heads delivered to his office. Put a fucking plan together. And where the fuck is Cheadle? Somewhere at a junkyard. Big Daddy and Hit Girl have Cheadle upside down in a car crusher. They want information now. But he already told them everything, he knows. But they literally don't care. Hit Girl presses the button, and the man is slowly, painfully, brutally crushed. What a fucking douche. Remember all the people I told you about at the start? All the weirdos who got inspired by Kick-Ass? Well, this is one of them. Red Mist, he calls himself. And he quickly is becoming bigger than Kick-Ass. He's been taking down drug dealers, people traffickers, and Russian mobsters. The cops absolutely love him. The media does too. All the bloggers kiss his ass. People are calling him the grown-up version of Kick-Ass. And Dave's fucking pissed. At night, he can't even catch a graffiti artist anymore. It's as if there's no more crime. In his personal life, he's fallen deeper and deeper into this secret gay life he's living. Everything's going wrong right now. Red Mist even says he was the first person to create a superhero MySpace. So he texts this Red Mist guy. He wants to meet him now. And the next night, they finally do. And when he shows up, Dave is about to give him an earful. But before he can, he stops him saying, "Hey, stop, they misquoted me." He apparently name-dropped Kick-Ass loads of times in that interview, but they didn't put it in. He tells him, "You were the first to do this stuff." He's his biggest fan. "It's like me and Elvis right now," he says. And that calms Dave right down, saying, "It's nice to meet you too." And he compliments his outfit. Red Mist tells him he doesn't want to fanboy out or anything, but "Want to team up tonight?" he says. But Dave is totally spent and he's a bit weary. That is until he reveals his sick Mistmobile, and Dave immediately gets in. He sparks up a joint saying when he's on patrol it calms him down. He was thinking maybe this guy was connected to Big Daddy or Hit Girl, but right now he's thinking maybe not. And they actually just vibe the fuck out. 70 years of comics suddenly make sense to him. He finally gets why superheroes work in pairs. It wasn't because they were embarrassed, it was because they felt less stupid, hanging out with people in capes. Team-ups happened for one very simple reason. They were fun. He thinks this all while riding around in style, and with what he thinks is his new best friend. And while they're chatting about hero stuff, they turn a corner and are stopped, dead in their tracks. A whole apartment block is on fire. This was no kicking a mugger in the balls. This was serious. Proper life or death shit. A woman says her little boy is trapped up there. Red Mist is hesitant. But what makes Dave a true hero is that he doesn't even think twice. He tells Red Mist, "We're going in." Red Mist doesn't want to, but Dave doesn't care. There's a kid up there. He's not going to stand around and do nothing. Red Mist thinks they're out of their mind for doing this. And as the crowd cheer them on, they rush in head first. Dave is still gung-ho, while Mist wants to sneak out the back. But the building is falling apart. No way out now. They don't have to do this, he says. But Dave says, confidently, "Go back and he'll do it himself." "Charlie," he screams, "are you in here?" They search and search, inhaling all the smoke in the air. Their masks only hold back a tiny bit of it. But Dave finally spots him. But it's a fucking kitten. They just walked into a burning building for a kitten. That's when the whole place starts collapsing and the floors give out beneath them. The crowd outside hold their breath. Inside, the two are pinned down beneath all the debris, but manage to get free. They're still stuck though. The doors are blocked. They're gonna die because of a fucking cat. With tears rolling down his face, Dave apologizes. But just then, a firefighter kicks down the door, grabbing the two masked heroes and dragging them outside to a crowd going absolutely nuts for them. Handing the cat back felt like a movie moment. This is the part where Peter Parker would have a camera set up nearby to take his photo. This was his Superman catching the helicopter moment. His Luke destroying the Death Star. Everyone was all over him, and even though they got a stern talking to, this was the first case of superheroes fighting side by side. They were all over the TV and the news. How could he have ever considered stopping being a hero? He was a rock star. Nothing can stop him now. He still can't believe how much he screwed all this up, as a hand grabs his shoulder. "Let's see how you do against the mob." A while ago, Hit Girl, or Mindy, as she used to go by, wasn't always a murder machine. She was just an innocent little girl at one point, until her dad taught her every way that exists to take someone's life, even talking her into letting him shoot her in the chest. It will hurt, even if only for a second, like a little punch in the chest, but she hates getting punched in the chest. Wasn't that bad, right? He says, while she's laying there with a bullet in her chest. The Kevlar worked though, so that's good. Now she won't be scared when some junkie pulls a 45. What do we do when that happens? Knife him in the nuts, she says. Yeah, good girl, he replies. Now let's do another 10 rounds. What the fuck? She loved her dad. She would have done anything for him. She did get treats and presents, but her presents weren't your typical Barbie dolls and whatnot. She would rather a switchblade than Heelys. She ate hearty, tough food and learned how to kick the spleen out of someone's arse. Her dad teaches her everything and watches her along her journey. The AR-15 was designed as a lighter, 5.56mm versions of what well-known rifle? Eugene Stoner's AR-10, of course. Now give me a hard one. Samuel Colt got a British patent for the revolver in 1835, but when did he get his American patent? Easy again, February 25th, 1836. John Woo's first American movie, Hard Target. Clint Eastwood's birth name, Clint Eastwood Jr. The dictionary definition of a Democrat. Oh, that's easy. Continue. A fucked up prick who will march for the right to murder babies. But hold a candlelight vigil for serial killers. Whoa, what the fuck? Nice shot, by the way. Thank you. They never stayed in one place for long. They changed their names and clothes, but one thing always stayed. Her dad's big steel suitcase. She never knew what was in it, but it paid for everything, he said. He even got her a special pill, for emergencies only, and put it in her utility belt, called Condition Red. She asked if it's a pocket laser, but of course it's not. This isn't a comic book. But she finally asks, what happens when we're done? When they're done killing the bad guys? Done avenging their mom? Can they be a regular family again? But he tells her to take everything one day at a time. The next job will be their toughest yet. Not if we got backup, she says, holding up a newspaper with the 2 new guys on the block on it. But he's wary about strangers. But she says a team of 4 is better than a team of 2. He sighs, saying he can't promise anything, but he'll think about it. That's when they decide to enlist Dave to their cause. That's why his head is being crushed right now in his own room. They know about his whole life, even the date his dad is on right now. But wait, his dad is picking up an extra shift at work, not on a date. But in reality, he's off getting some cheeks with some lady he met online. They know literally everything about his life. All they had to do was follow him. It wasn't hard. He's not Batman. And that's when they reveal who they really are to him. Once upon a time there was a good cop in a bad city, and the bad guys hated him because they couldn't pay him off. So they killed his wife and tried to kill him. But he escaped with his little baby girl and plotted revenge. He's literally fucking Frank Castle, he thinks. So cool. Now are you and your friends gonna help us take down the mob, he says? But he just outright refuses. He's not going to kill anyone, he says. He's a superhero. Oh, kiss my ass. What is this, the Silver Age? I like that. There's no hypno rings cutting about here. It's not a negotiation. Either join their team or they reveal his identity to the world. Oh fuck. They'll email him the address. Bring red mist, they shout, and they disappear into the night, leaving Kick-Ass to make the biggest decision of his life so far. One half of him is crying, and the other half is having multiple nerdgasms about how cool this is. Over the next few days, he literally can't focus on anything. His friends even invented a new course word called tunk. He would usually be all over something like this, but right now he couldn't give a tunk. Later he breaks the news to Red Mist that they have to go or else their identities will be revealed. And they agree to just go and talk it out. His head is a mess all night during his patrol. He's daydreaming about what might happen to him if he goes, pacing all over the city in a daze. He even randomly comes to his crush's house and shouts in her window, telling her he's actually been kick-ass this whole time, and he's not gay. But as she's about to come to her window, he just f***ing legs it. At their secret HQ, Big Daddy and Hit Girl prepare for their arrival, and she thanks him for agreeing to this, calling him the funnest dad in the world. On their way to the hideout, the 2 newbies are running over scenarios in their head. They have such cool origin stories, but theirs are pretty shit. They were just bored. And finally they reach the place. They walk up the steps, and Dave takes a look in. Hello, boys. What the fuck is this? Help us, Kick-Ass. Are you shitting me? This prick can't even help himself. So his first impressions of Red Mist were right after all. He should have trusted his gut. He asked why did he do that for, but Mist can't believe that he's that dense. That's when Hit Girl reveals everything. He's the mob boss's son, the one he met back in the comic store that bought all the comics. This whole thing was a setup to flush her and her dad out. His dad actually can't believe it worked. Big Daddy is on the ground begging for a doctor. There's a bullet lodged in his stomach right now. But they don't care. They want to know who they're working for. Who sent him and his tiny little soldier daughter to kill all his men? And what the fuck is in that case? What's the combination? One of the goons screams. 1, 2, 3, fuck you. Hit Girl retaliates. Mindy! That actually hurt, you prick. Oh my god, they just killed a 10-year-old girl. Red Mist thinks this whole thing is awesome. Get them to the basement, his dad orders. Later, Red Mist compliments Dave, saying it took so long to knock him out. He has to be a boxer or something. But nah, he says, it's just the metal plates in his head. But that's when he notices some guys messing with some jumper cables, asking what they're doing. And Mist tells him they've been after them guys for months. They need all the information they can get. And he actually knows Kick-Ass knows nothing, but he still wants to do it to him anyways. He's going to electrocute his balls. Red Mist says he's been looking forward to this for ages. He even jerked off about it. Okay, weirdo. It's the most pain he's ever felt in his entire life. He'll tell him anything, he says, as he pisses himself. He literally told them everything he could. His favourite colour, his crush on Lisa Gibbons, everything he knew about Big Daddy and Hit Girl. But Big Daddy never said a word. He was too busy crying about his daughter to talk. But after hearing what Dave told them, the mobster can't remember any pissed off cops in his past. He grabs him to wire him back up, but that's when he finally reveals the truth. He's an accountant. What? Dave shouts. He was never a cop, married to a wife that hated him. Are you satisfied? He gurgles. He hates his friends, his life, so he ran away with his baby girl and built himself a new one. He's a fanboy like Dave, and Mindy died having no idea. The mob boss doesn't believe him. Check the case, he says. Code is 2843. That's how he's been funding his whole operation. He's been selling all of them on eBay for years now. They open the case and see literal millions of dollars worth of comics. But why the hell would a comic nerd go after a mob boss? But that's easy. He needed a villain. He wanted to give his daughter an exciting life. Something different. Well, now she's not going to grow up at all. Kill the both of them, he orders. But Dave calls out after him, begging him, saying he's only 16. He's never even been in trouble before. But that's when the man picks up Big Daddy's head by the scruff. He just executed the man. Then a plan formed in Dave's head. He was going to insult the men. He didn't want to go out like that, saying kill me with your hands like a man. They can't believe what they're hearing, but he keeps going, and they give him what he wants. You call that a punch, you fucking pussy? Harder. Harder. He won't stop berating the men. One of them finally punches him square in the forehead, knocking him backwards. And that's when they stomp on him as hard as they can. The metal plate in his head is taking 85% of the pain, so he's actually fine. They eventually leave him there to die, but he refuses. He struggles to his feet, pulls up his pants, picks up a stick, and is ready to go again. He just won't quit, but they laugh at him, putting a gun to his temple. Suddenly the lights go out. Hit Girl? She's alive! Oh my god! He struggles over to the light switch and eventually gets it on. But by then all the men are dead, except for one. I saw you die, he says. I got Kevlar down to my underoos, dickhead. She leaves the room saying she needs to finish the job. But your dad, Dave says. There's no time to mourn right now. We've got work to do. John Genovese. I hope you made your peace with God, because none of you cocks are leaving here alive. What? Who is this? He demands. Just a little kid in a Halloween costume. Okay, now let's get up there and kick some ass. The mobsters wait for the elevator to get there. They're locked and loaded and ready to kill two stupid kids. In the lift, Hit Girl is taking out that pill her dad gave her for emergencies. She calls it Condition Red. It gives her the strength of 10 men, apparently. Is that fucking cocaine? No, silly, it's a super secret chemical compound. Designed by scientists. Now open up my Hello Kitty bag. I think I'm coming up. The lift arrives, and they ready themselves for what's about to come. They fried my fucking testicles, Hit Girl. She has a fucking flamethrower. For my dad and your balls, she screams. The goons get fried, but the boss escapes. She's currently high as a kite right now. Where did she even get a flamethrower? eBay, she says quaintly. She tells him exactly where Red Mist is. Her dad made her study the entire floor map. But her? What is she gonna do? It's fucking clobbering time. In a bathroom, Red Mist is hunkered down, hoping they don't come for him. But Dave is outside smashing the gaff up, screaming for him to come out. When he realises it's just Dave, he emerges with a gun. He points it at him, but it is visibly shaken. He was never cut out for this shit. Dave moves too quickly for him, moving the gun out of the way and cracking him in the head with a 2x4. Your old man was right about you, you asswipe. You are a fucking pussy. Back in the hallway with the mobsters, they're all standing around, waiting for her to appear. She's not dicking around anymore. Inside a kitchen, more await orders. Meanwhile, their colleagues' heads come flying in. She's only 10, like what the fuck? That's the scariest 10-year-old I've ever seen. But a man comes up behind her and grabs her. Not so clever now, huh? Dave hears the commotion and comes running down the halls. Kids can't fight grown-ups, he says, grabbing her face. Grown-ups are bigger, they're stronger, and they're meaner. So pick on someone your own size, Dave bursts in and shouts. But the man isn't worried, telling the others he doesn't have the balls. But who doesn't have the balls now? He shot me in the fucking tunk. What the hell? The curse word caught on. Yeah, well, tunk you, asshole. Dave can't believe his friend's word made it so far. Thanks for the guns, Hit Girl shouts. And when she eventually runs out of bullets, Dave lifts his head up and sees a 10-year-old girl surrounded by bodies on top of bodies. They did it. And that's when Hit Girl turns around to him, removing her mask, asking, "Would you give me a hug? My daddy just died." She is, after all, just a 10-year-old girl. And after everything, the cops just didn't investigate the crime scene that much. I think they were glad they died, chalking it up to more gangland violence. Hit Girl and him became legends in the hero community, but Hit Girl's ambitions died with her father. It turns out her name is Mindy McCready, and her mother was alive, so she went back home to be a normal kid again. She was still Hit Girl, but only when bullies stepped out of line. Dave finally found the courage to admit he wasn't gay and that he was in love with his crush. "That was him at the window earlier," he says, and she immediately screams at him, calling him a creep, getting his ass kicked in the process. Superheroes are everywhere now too. He started a worldwide trend. Him and her literally reshaped the world, and that's how we got here in the first place. Since becoming superheroes and gaining worldwide fame and recognition, and going through absolute hell to get it, they've returned to their normal lives. Well, as normal as it gets. Dave is a 16-year-old dressed in a wetsuit, trying to punch a little girl in the face, and failing miserably at it.
Every week it's the same thing. He feels like he's not learning. All she does is kick his ass. But she says what she's doing is child's play. Her dad would have smashed his face in. But she just wants the best for him. She sees so much potential. He just has to eat and sleep when she tells him. And also stop being a little bitch. Now, time for some real pain. Oh f***. Later, Mindy's new stepdad welcomes her home to her new life. She never really had a childhood, as her now deceased father trained her for years to be a soulless killing machine. She tells him about her day at school, but this guy's a literal detective. He knows she's been at the gym with Kick-Ass. She tries to deny it, but he's seen her. She says she hasn't touched a weapon since she came home. But that's a lie. Probably the biggest lie she's ever told in her 11 years on this earth. She's 100% grounded. He's not mad or anything, he just wants her to have a normal life and to stay away from all those online superheroes. And he promises not to tell her mother, as long as she stays away from that life. And she promises. He was a good man. He was searching for her for years when her actual dad kidnapped her from her mother. When she came home, he realised immediately that she was hit girl. Her mom had a mental breakdown when she left. She can't put her through that again. All parents want their kid to be normal. If he'd been normal, someone he would have loved would have never been brain damaged. His secret identity would have never been exposed, and his house would have never been blown up. Even this big fight in Times Square with Red Mist and all his guys would have never happened. Oh wait, that didn't happen yet. Forget about that for now. His normal life was shit. His mom was dead. His dad was a loser. He tried chasing other girls, but Katie Doma was still his obsession. Even though he pretended to be her gay best friend for like a year, she still hates him, but she's still his Mary Jane to his Peter Parker. Even though his life was shit, he still wanted to know. Why did he do it? Why not be normal? Why dress in a smelly wetsuit every night and patrol the streets? Why be humiliated? Other kids were playing video games, but this wasn't close. This was awesome. Since taking down a huge mobster, Kick-Ass was a superstar, and he inspired thousands to dress up and patrol the streets to do the same thing. He liked being around others like him. It made him more comfortable. Dr. Gravity, his new friend, tells him of some others who are thinking about forming their own supergroup. But before they can continue, some concerned citizens interrupt him. But this is child's play for him now. He's basically a professional. But before Mark can jump in, they bolt out of there. The adrenaline rush was amazing. This was the reason right here. That feeling cannot be replaced. Later he sits in the place where Dr. Gravity said he would meet him as he tries to contact Mindy to join the team, but she can't. That's not her life anymore. She made a promise and she has to keep it. But as he sends his last text, the floor beneath him begins to move. What the hell? It was Dr. Gravity. That's how the bear gets delivered, he says. He has an underground headquarters. Oh my god, this is amazing. He has his own Batcave. But not just his. Kick-Ass. Meet the rest of the guys. Welcome to Justice Forever. Somewhere in Queens, a man tells his young son to keep watch of his dog outside his shop. He'll only be a minute. He tells him to make sure he doesn't lose him. He costs a lot of money. He doesn't want anyone stealing the dog, he says. They won't, his son promises. He'll only be 2 minutes. So he goes and buys his groceries, and then finishes and comes out and sees what awaits him. His dog is still there. That's good. But where's his son? That was 7 years ago now. Nobody helped him look for their boy. So now, 3 nights a week, him and his wife patrol the streets together as Remembering Tommy. And while they're introducing themselves, everyone else might as well join in. This is Night Bitch. Her sister got murdered and found in a dumpster. This is Insect Man. He's just a cop, tired of the system. This lets him do the stuff he can't do in a day job. Next is Battle Guy. His parents got shot on the way home from an opera, and the man didn't just kill them. He cooked them and ate them while he made him watch. He could still hear him laughing about eating his mom's big ass. He even used their credit card to buy pay-per-view you know what. That's so fucked up. Wait, hold on. Are you Marty Eisenberg? Oh shit. Dave knew he recognized him, but he says nervously that he doesn't know what he's talking about. And that's when Dave pulls off his mask, revealing his identity to Battle Guy. What the fuck? Why are you dressed as Kick-Ass? Because I am Kick-Ass, he says. He's been doing this for over a year now. They've been friends since they were 5. And all that backstory about his parents is bullshit. He just saw his mom at the grocery store this morning. Lethal. Is this true? Colonel Starr asks. Yeah. But he said when he found out about them online and seeing they were ex-mafia members, he assumed he would have to have a crazy backstory to be able to get in. But he tells him he doesn't care. Once he wants to help his community, that's all that matters. They protect people who can't protect themselves. They track down people and pin their faces on walls as targets. This is the trophy room, where they can keep souvenirs from their adventures. It isn't much, but it's only the beginning. Kick-Ass is happy to be included, and they're delighted to have him. He can't believe it. Him and his friends are basically in the Justice League. Absolutely sweating, walking through the halls in school, wearing their costumes underneath their clothes. That's when his friend says, "It's a shame you weren't the first." But what the fuck is he talking about? Wasn't Red Mist the first real-life superhero? No, of course he wasn't, he shouts. But suddenly he gets bumped by a strange-looking student. His friend tells him that's one of the members that signed up for Red Mist's new supervillain army. But Dave doesn't understand. Red Mist said they will stay clean until he returns. Then they'll tear apart the city. But while they're talking, Mindy sits close by, taking it all in, knowing she wanted her own team one day. But now she can't have it anymore. At his home, his dad is worried. Dave seems distant. He's constantly tired all the time. He asks if he's doing drugs, but he assures him he isn't. He just wants the best for him. He knows he wouldn't do anything stupid to disappoint him. Later, him and his friends are on a rooftop, discussing how badass the Colonel is. He's like Bruce Wayne from Batman Beyond, especially with his dog and everything. He can't believe he's an ex-mobster. But apparently, him and his brother are born-again Christians. One day they just decided to turn their life around, and turn their backs on the mob. They meet the others down below, and they stop at a door in an alley. The Colonel says this guy has young girls, kids even, working here. He ships them in from poor places, promising them the world. And the cops just turn a blind eye. The gang are nervous, but the Colonel isn't, banging right on the front door. The guys inside can't believe someone had the audacity to do something like that to them. Before they go in, the Colonel asks the guys, lay off the cursing a little bit. It sets a bad example. The door swings open and a giant man stands in front of them. The Colonel says he needs to speak with Jimmy Kim. What the fuck? Get your ass out of here before I tear your head off, you old prick. Again with the F-bombs. What is it with young people these days? He just takes him out in one hit. What the fuck? The guys can't believe it. He wants his lieutenant behind him. Everyone else take out the strays, he commands. The guys think they're being raided. Little did they know, it's just some weirdos in superhero costumes. Who the hell are you? One of them screams. Neighborhood watch, Colonel states firmly. Sophie, get in here, girl. You've got to be fucking kidding me. Do we look like guys with a sense of humour? It's time we had a talk, Mr. Kim. Mr. Kim begs for his life while an angry Rottweiler in a superhero mask gnaws on his balls. He offers them $50,000 to go away, but he can't buy these guys. They're not here to steal, they came to send a message. They just want to know where the girls are. They're upstairs, he shouts, with his little brother. Kick-Ass and his friends immediately run upstairs. The brother is so scared, but they spot the girls. Night Bitch comforts them and makes sure they get to safety. But they have no money, they can't leave. But Insect Man just gathered up all the money from the poker table. $50,000. It's all theirs. Now go. They get in a car and flee the scene. Inside, the Colonel is going over just how Kim is running the operation. He's bringing over young girls from South Korea, promising them to work in a restaurant. But instead, when they get there, he beats them and forces them to work as prostitutes. But he can't even answer a single question right now because his balls are currently inside a dog's stomach. They tell him he got off light tonight. If he does this again, they'll come back and burn the place to the ground. He grabs his dog and the rest of the gang and leaves. Kick-Ass is ecstatic. That was so cool, he thinks. He couldn't believe he pulled a gun on him, but between him and the Colonel, the gun is empty. He just uses it as an intimidation weapon. Awesome, Dave thinks. He taught the world of the Colonel. They didn't only do ass kicking, They helped the local community too, in more ways than one. There wasn't a lot of crime, but that didn't stop so many people wanting to join them. People from all walks of life joined in. After a month, Justice Forever were 12 men strong. They were literal celebrities walking down the street. But Dave felt bad that his best friend wasn't involved, so he told him everything and helped him pick out a suit. But they slag him off saying he looks a bit gay. His pants are way too tight, but he doesn't care. He's just focused on picking out an awesome new name. What about Whoop-Ass? Kick-Ass Man, Dr. Kick-Ass. But they're literally all just Dave's name. But he says no, he's got it now. Ass Kicker. At school, Dave tried his hardest to get Mindy to join the team, but she refused once more. As they walk outside, all his friends think he's a pedo. Later he comes home and he's looking for his dad, and he eventually walks upstairs to his room. Oh fuck. He knows everything. He was looking for drugs, but found something much worse. Dave tries to lie his way out of things, but saying it's just a costume, but his dad says he found everything. His nightsticks, the boots, all the newspaper clippings he's been saving. Drugs would have been better. What kind of people are you involved with, he demands. But Dave probably gives the worst answer any human could mutter at the time. Superheroes, he says. He grabs his suit, saying he's proud of what he does every night, and bolts out the door. While his dad shouts after him saying he's lost his mind. And in that moment, the relationship, which was already hanging on by a thread, snaps. Shit. Later at the Justice Forever headquarters, the Colonel is unveiling a new table. It looks so good, so official. He calls out for Sophia, his dog, but she doesn't answer. But that's when he hears footsteps. And suddenly 5 people decked in head-to-toe leather, with skull marks all over them, appear in his doorway. Sorry man, dog's dead, the tall Amazonian-like woman says in a broken accent. What the hell? Who are these people? He pulls out a gun and points it at them, but they know he's bluffing. No you fucking won't, she says as she blasts him in the stomach. Superheroes don't do shit like that, right boss? It's Red Mist. He's back, with his band of toxic mega cunts, as he likes to call them. He remembers the Colonel. He used to work for his mob boss dad back in the day, before he was quote unquote born again. He asks if this is how he thought he'd die, dressed like an idiot. Who are you? The Colonel mutters. Him? Well, he used to go by Red Mist. He's here to send a message to the people who murdered his father. He was going to travel the world and become a complete badass like Batman, but he figured he could just pay people to do it for him, so why bother? This is Mother Russia. She used to be Putin's bodyguard. You want me to finish him? She asks. But he's not ready yet. He wants him to smash the place up first. He continues to taunt him while he bleeds out on the ground, calling him pathetic. He was going to write Red Mist all over the walls, but he has a new name now. That was his superhero name. Now he wants his villain name up there. And as for this old prick, he wants him to think of something funny to finish him off. I just want to warn you from here on out, it gets really messy, really violent, and really graphic. Mindy was living out the life of a normal 11-year-old girl. But unfortunately for her, she wasn't a normal 11-year-old girl. She was much, much more. Her stepdad catches her watching the gruesome murder on the TV that just happened. He asks what she's doing. He's back, she says. Red Mist is back. They need to take him down. They need to go hard and fast. They need to send a message to these fuckers. But he reminds her once more, this is not going to happen. But she just gets angrier and angrier, saying they cut a guy's head off. Kick-Ass isn't going to stop them. Either are those pussies he's hanging around with. But she's only 11. The cops are handling it. She's got homework to do, not murder. He demands it, and she's in his house, so there's no way around it. She damns her father for making her so obedient. Later the gang are all meeting up at a local diner. They're there to discuss what happened to their colonel. They're signing a sympathy card for their lieutenant. It was his brother after all. Poor guy has to deal with the funeral, while coming to terms with the fact that your brother got murdered so brutally because he wanted to be a superhero. Dave tells the gang Red Mist is calling himself the motherfucker. Dr. Gravity has had enough sulking. He says they need to do something about this. They need to fight. But the others aren't children. They're not going to have some stupid rumble in Central Park. They're not a gang. They just help people. They need to leave it to the cops. But the villains said this is just the beginning. But what can be worse than what they did to the Colonel? Meanwhile, on the other side of town, is this where she lives? One of them asks. But while he looks, his henchman reads a tweet that Kick-Ass just put out, saying how he kicked his ass last time and he'll do it again. He's cocky, huh? Let's see how cocky he is once we've messed up his girlfriend, he says. He asks some neighbourhood kids where Katie Doma's house is, and they tell them it's just over there, also asking if they're superheroes. Not exactly, they say. Katie's not one either. She just fucks one. Or so he thinks she does. That's why they're going to hurt her. He just mowed down innocent children. Then he commands them to tear this neighbourhood apart and find that whore. Die, you bastards, he screams, as he guns down any neighbour that steps outside to discover what the commotion is, screaming that he's coming for Katie. They kick down her door and her dad tells her to run. He's got this. But he's not bulletproof, unfortunately. She tried to run upstairs but is caught immediately. They're going to send her boyfriend Kick-Ass a message. But she doesn't even know who Kick-Ass is, she says. But he remembers when he fried his balls that Kick-Ass told him he was in love with her. But she knows nothing about that, begging them, saying they got the wrong person. But he just tells her to shut up. You're done banging superheroes, baby. It's time to see what evil dick tastes like. Outside, the cops are coming, but Mother Russia literally doesn't give a fuck, pulling out her M16, pointing it at the cops, and guns them down without a second thought. More of them show up, but she just keeps going. She's like a one-woman army. Some of them tried to get cover, but it's no use. They die too. Another pair don't know what's happening. They can't even see her. But that's when their knees get taken out from underneath them. She's under their car. Others call for backup. 8 men are down. Call it 10, she says. In Katie's bedroom, after the whole gang finish zipping up their trousers, Mist calls them and says let's go before they send more cops. And as they walk outside to an absolute bloodbath, where did he say he got this chick from again? And why did Putin ever let her go? One of them asks. He explains the other bodyguards accused her of cheating in cards, so she just slaughtered them all. Can you imagine what she's going to do to Kick-Ass and Hit Girl? As they're both responsible for killing his dad. Inside the police precinct, they're discussing their new objective ahead of this tragedy. 27 are dead and 80 are injured. They're closing down these freaks, once and for all. They've tracked all their Facebook and Twitter accounts down. They got 500 men currently rounding them up now. But Marcus, Hit Girl's stepdad, asks why Kick-Ass is on the list. He's a good guy. But the boss doesn't care. His old best friend just murdered some toddlers. They can't be sure anymore. And as the day goes on, everyone with a cape and a mask is put in a black van and never seen again. The images of the massacre circulate all around the country. Everyone is on the police's side. They didn't mind the superhero shit. Once it was just a few fights and picking up litter. But this shit is serious now. His dad warned him how dangerous it would be. But what's coming next, nobody could have seen. As a cop car pulls up outside Dave's front door with a warrant for his arrest, his dad panics. Shit, Dave, what have you done? At the hospital, Dave and the gang can't believe what they did to Katie. But that's when Dave looks at his phone, and it's a text from Red Mist saying, forget the bitch. It's your old man you should be worried about, you prick. Kiss, kiss. Dave bolts out the door, running through the hospital halls. Meanwhile, outside his home, his dad is being put in handcuffs and dragged into a cop car. His dad has taken the rap for Kick-Ass. He said it was him all along, so he could save his son. Dave tries to say it wasn't his dad, it was him. He's only protecting me, Dave shouts. But it's too late for that now. In Rikers Island Penitentiary, Dave is sitting face to face with his dad, begging for an answer as to why he would do this. But he was never going to let his son go to jail. Dave begs him to tell the truth, but his dad has an ace up his sleeve, it seems. He spoke to an attorney, and Dave actually hasn't committed any crimes, so they can't keep him here for long. But Dave doesn't listen, he's just spiraling. The villains know everything. They're coming for all of us, he says, but his dad just tries to calm him down, saying they can deal with it. The cops are hunting them down as we speak. He wants him to stay at his friend's house for now. Don't go back home or don't go to school. Dave breaks down, saying he can't believe this is happening, but his dad says it's okay. You just have to promise me you won't dress up in those stupid clothes ever again. And he promises. He apologizes one last time, and his dad says it's okay. He can handle these goons inside. Everything will be fine. At Red Mist's secret HQ, he just had a shark tank installed, but it seems they put the shark in the wrong water. It's just sitting at the bottom, not moving. But that's when he gets a phone call from the head detective. It's apparently his uncle. He tells him he needs to see his new villain HQ. It's awesome. But he didn't call to fuck about. He says he can't protect him anymore. This story is too big. His killings are nationwide. His dad's old friends are asking to bring him in. But Chris, aka Red Mist, doesn't care. They're afraid of him, he says. This isn't a game, his uncle shouts back. No more special treatment. But yet again, he doesn't give a fuck. He's not happy Kick-Ass's dad takes the rap for him, and now his uncle is off the team. What the hell is going on? But Mother Russia butts in, saying maybe it's not a bad thing he's in jail after all. But Chris doesn't know what she means. How is it not bad? Kick-Ass is in the wind. We don't know where he is. No. But we know where his father is. And in Dave's friend's house, they're discussing how stupid Dave is for not hiding his IP address. They found him instantly when they started looking, and still no sign of Hit Girl. But that's when Dave gets a text. Somebody is trying to send him a picture. Oh fuck. Dave begins screaming. It's his dad. It's a picture of him hanging, lifeless, after pissing himself. I'm sorry, I can't show this on YouTube. It's way too graphic. I know I show everything else, but this video will definitely be taken down if I show something like that. Later, it's all a blur for Dave. At his dad's funeral, someone told him the picture went viral, and all the supervillains were laughing about it. His poor innocent dad. The motherfucker declared a 3-day ceasefire to celebrate his loss, describing his dad as useless and a pathetic sacrifice from a sad, forgettable man. Also, they leaked his secret identity all over Twitter. All the Justice Forever crew just got released from prison, and everyone else too, when the cops realised they had nothing to do with the massacre. The only condition was they weren't allowed to wear their costumes ever again. A citywide ban on masks and capes was put in place. The villains promised they wouldn't interfere with the funeral, but Dave was so high on every prescription drug he could find, he couldn't understand what was even going on at that point. But on the inside, he was dying, as the news channels snapped pictures of him in the background. When he closed his eyes, all he could imagine was his dad's final moments. How scared he must have been. His dad was a decent man. All he ever did was try and give Dave a nice life. And now he's dead, and it's all Dave's fault. Why was this happening? All he ever did was try to help people. And when the funeral is all over, his friends console him. His superhero friends promise they will get revenge for what happened. But he says don't. He's actually going to live with his cousins in Connecticut for a while. He's done with this life. They can't believe it. What is he talking about? But they have to see it from his point of view. They killed his dad. They murdered all those people last week. What else was going to happen before he gives up this shit? He's going to lay low for a while. And that's when Mindy comes in saying, trust her, it's for the best. It's the only way to calm things down. But he knows. She apologises, crying, saying she hopes he doesn't hate or blame her for not helping. But he doesn't at all. She was right and he was wrong. He only has himself to blame. They embrace as a crowd looks on. What the fuck? It's the villains. Dave, get down, Mindy shouts as she tackles him. Mindy, her stepdad screams. The villains just blew up all the graves and have begun shooting and mowing down civilians. They grab Dave and make their escape, killing cops along the way. They drag him into their truck and speed away, smashing through the closed cemetery gates, crushing every car in their way. Inside, Dave is staring down some of the most evil men he's ever seen in his life. They're kidnapping him. He's going to get a ringside ticket to Manhattan's biggest atrocity, they say. But Dave doesn't care anymore, saying, "There's nothing you can do to hurt me right now. Wanna bet?" They begin trying to put his costume on, because it'll be funnier if he's dressed up like Kick-Ass. What the fuck? Jesus Christ! Game on, motherfuckers. Hit Girl is on the roof of the truck, causing mayhem. They try to shake her loose, but she holds on tightly, using the bullet hole she created. Dave is tossed around inside, while she hangs on for her life outside, as they try and kill her. But she moves too quickly, dodging left, right and centre. While she moves, they try and grab her leg, but she's literally a trained assassin from birth. She was born for this. She takes the guy's gun, pointing it at the driver. She tells him, "Tell me where you're taking Kick-Ass, and you might live." He says it's a furniture warehouse in the Bronx. Thank you. Kick-Ass screams for someone to tell him what the f is going on. But she tells him to relax. The cavalry's here. Now get into costume and straighten yourself out. We're going to finish this once and for all. But Dave doesn't want to get into costume. It's his dad's funeral, calling her a crazy bitch. Get into costume and grow a pair, Kick-Ass. It's time to stop taking shit from these people. Back at the villain's HQ, they're standing around waiting for the other guys to get back with Kick-Ass, as they discuss whether the shark is sick or not. But that's when the van enters the place. Finally, they think. They're so looking forward to finally annihilating Kick-Ass. But instead, Dave and Mindy, Kick-Ass and Hit Girl, emerge ready to fuck shit up. She tells him to get the big guy. She'll take out everyone else. As she turns back into the killing machine that her daddy trained her to be, decimating the entire gang. For all those left alive, she hopes they're listening carefully. Meanwhile, Kick-Ass is chasing the big guy down with his now spike-wrapped batons. He tries to reason with him, but he doesn't care anymore. He knows he was there at Katie's that day. He saw him laughing on the footage, thrashing her bedroom. "Were you laughing when you decided you were going to hang my dad?" he screams. "Were you one of the pricks making jokes on that supervillain forum?" As he dunks him into the shark tank. "So long, shithead. Enjoy being fish food." But the shark is still not moving. I don't even think it's alive anymore. But it doesn't matter. He lands directly at her feet, telling him to start talking. Where's his boss and what's he planning? "F*** you," he screams. "Excuse me," she shouts, putting the barrel directly to his temple. He tells her those families were just a warm-up. All of their followers are getting ready to do something crazy tonight. "We're gonna rock your world," he says. He'll never betray their plans just cause there's a gun in his face. But that's fine. "Kick-Ass, fetch me some pliers." She's going to start with his fingernails. A little while later, she calls her stepdad to tell him they're hitting Times Square. It's going to be the biggest loss of civilian life since 9/11. He says this is insane, asking where she is or if she's hurt, but she's safe. Her and Kick-Ass are in one of her dad's safe houses. She promised to be home when they're done, but this is their only shot at this. She needs a large police presence in the area. "I'll do my best," he promises. Behind her, Kick-Ass is putting out a cry for help for all the superheroes left in the city. But after all of them being arrested for even wearing a mask, he knows nobody in their right mind would listen to him. But Mindy says there's a gang of supervillains attacking Times Square. They've literally waited their whole lives for this. They're only asking them to stand by. They're letting the cops take the lead. But like, why do they even want to burn down the city anyway? What's the point? Chris has got asthma, for God's sake. Where's he going to get his medicine if this place burns down? He just learned it in the superhero movies. He thinks that's what villains do, and it sounded cool. Mindy comforts him, saying it's okay to shed a tear, but going full pussy like this is completely unacceptable. They killed your dad, or murdered your girlfriend. Are you really going to sit here blubbing like a bitch at the Oscars? But he rubs his eyes and snaps out of it. Good, she says. Now let's tool the fuck up and go kill some lowlifes. In Times Square, the police are waiting around for something to happen. But the villains are smarter than that. They need distractions. They blow up Dave's apartment. But that's the signal. Then the comic stores all at once. blown to smithereens. Calls flood in and the police are overwhelmed. They rush to the scenes of the explosions, leaving Times Square open for the villains. Marcus tried to tell the others it's a distraction, but they don't listen. Suddenly, hundreds of masked men and women appear out of nowhere, murdering anyone in sight. The police panic. What the f*** are they supposed to do? There's too many. Red mist emerges from the chaos, ordering everyone to f*** it all up and don't stop. You've got 10 minutes to do as much damage as possible, he screams. Chris Genovese. What the hell? Give it up, bitch. It's Kick-Ass and Hit Girl. But are they stupid? Why did they even bother coming out here? There's only two of them versus an army of villains. They even chased off the cops. Do they really want to die so badly? No, Hit Girl solemnly says. That's why we asked our friends along. As she steps to the side, revealing all the heroes behind her that answered their call. Oh no. Avengers. Fucking assemble, asshole. What's the matter, Chris? You shitting yourself? You should be.
Sorry to interrupt, but if you haven't already, could you please try and click the hype button on this? I'm not too sure what it fully does yet, but if you're subscribed, you can click hype and smaller creators like myself can get higher up in the algorithm and my video gets promoted to more people. Only if you like it. If you don't, it's okay. I really appreciate it. Now back to the video.
The two scream at each other in the middle of the chaos, blaming each other for both of their dad's deaths. You R-worded my girlfriend, Dave screams. Oh, give it over, she wasn't even your girlfriend. She hardly knew who you were, Miss shouts. She actually said you were her stalker. But he doesn't want to hear it, as Mist pushes him. Get your hands off me, homo, Dave pushes back. As both of them squabble in the background, the real fight is about to start. Hit Girl versus Mother Russia. Red Mist gives the order for everyone to attack, and all hell breaks loose. But in between the madness, the two most dangerous people in the city stare each other down. One is an 8-foot tall, former Putin bodyguard in the KGB, and the other one's an 11-year-old girl. The police are called back to Times Square. They've realised it was all a distraction. Mother Russia taunts Hit Girl, saying she's seen some of her fights online. She relies too much on weapons, obviously compensating for her size. But what happens when you take them away? Fuck. She's former Spetsnaz, former KGB, trained in judo, jeet kune do, silat, and Krav Maga. Who trained you, she asks. Your comic book collector father. She can't believe Red Mist hired her to protect him from a little girl. She doesn't even believe in his war, but he pays well, so she doesn't care. Does she know what she gets for wearing a costume? Does she know how much she'll get for murdering her? But suddenly she's interrupted by Dave's friends. But that gives Mindy enough time to pick up a shard of glass and stab her in the neck with it. Then pulling it out, stabbing her in the stomach. Then the back. Then the neck again. Shouldn't have turned your back on me, bitch. Yep, she's definitely dead. She thanks the guys for their help, but she needs them back out there. Keep them away from the public. Don't stop fighting. They have to hold them off until the cops get here. Meanwhile, Dave and Chris are still scuffling. Dave gets the upper hand. He has him now, after everything he's done. He's waited months for this. He tells him to listen to all his friends. His villains are losing. Making sure he hears the sirens. He's going to jail. It's over. Everyone cheers, telling Dave to kill him, but he'll never kill. That's the difference between them and us, he says. We're superheroes. But that's when Mist brings him back to reality, saying, it's a shame the cops haven't realised that yet. The cops only see masked up freaks killing each other. They can't tell who's good and who's bad. They tried to tell them what's happening, but they don't care. They attack everyone. And while they're attacking the heroes, Chris slips away, but Dave gives chase. Would you fuck off, he says. He races up to the roof of the apartment, Dave hot on his heels. But as he rushes out onto the roof, Dave is ambushed from behind. Chris says, what is he doing? He's insane. They need to lie low, so all of this blows over. The cops are everywhere. Fuck you, Dave says. He's here to help the cops. He's putting him in jail once and for all. 50 grand, he shouts. He'll give him 50 grand if he lets him go, but he's not interested. He tells him to wait though, his balls really hurt. but it's a trick once more, throwing nails into his face. Dave can't see at all and just starts swinging. What the hell is wrong with you? Just fucking die! But suddenly his heart drops. Mist goes flying over the edge. This was real life. And he's not Batman. He's just a boy standing on a rooftop in a wetsuit, looking down at another kid he just murdered. His hand shook. His stomach burned. His head felt like it could explode. As the police sirens got closer, he was coming to terms with what he'd just done. He'd just taken a human life. What the hell is he going to do now?
Dave, can you hear me?
He's alive.
I'm pretty messed up, but I don't think it's as bad as it looks. Could you call me an ambulance?
He promises not to tell anyone he lost his temper and almost murdered him. He's just really fucked up right now.
Nobody needs to know it was you.
Shit. What is he doing? He's actually about to call him an ambulance. And when they finally arrive on the scene, they discover Mist's broken body. But they also look up and see Kick-Ass on the roof. Oh my god, he's so fucked. But that's when Hit Girl drags him away from the edge, telling him to meet her back at base with the others. She'll meet him there in an hour, as she leaps off the roof, dropping smoke pellets all around her. The cops are so confused, but she's given them a target to focus on, so Dave can escape in the confusion. As she runs and jumps into one of the cop cars, she speeds off. And Dave just realised what she did. She saved him, just like superheroes are supposed to do. She risked her life for his. He understands it all now. Why the movies and characters were created in such a shit time in history. Everyone just needed some colour in their lives and a happy ending, because real life doesn't work like that. Hit Girl speeds down the busy street, being pursued by the entire NYPD. Her stepdad asks the chief what he's doing. She's just a little girl. But he says she's a superhero, right? You really think a superhero's going to kill a cop? As he stands directly in front of her speeding car, holding up his badge. She screams for him to move, but he doesn't. Shit! She spins out and flips her car, getting completely wiped out in the process. And as she crawls away from the wreckage, full of blood, the cops aim their weapons at her. The chief tells his men not to take their eyes off of her. She's wanted for the murder of 60 people. But she tells them not to worry. She would never hurt the men in uniform. But the chief doesn't care. She's in so much trouble right now. But she doesn't care either. A superhero doesn't think about her own safety. All that matters is that she saved those people and nailed motherfucker's gang. But he screams at her, telling her she's not a superhero. She's a little girl with a personality disorder. As they take her away, Dave doesn't know yet. None of them know what just happened. They're safe and the war is over. But where's Hit Girl? In Times Square, the crowd cheers for justice forever. They're heroes. A few blocks down, they do the same for Hit Girl as she's handcuffed. Marcus comes flying in, screaming her name. He says that's his stepdaughter, and he can explain. But he gets taken away for knowing who these people were the whole time too. Mindy apologises, saying, "Tell my mom, I couldn't be more sorry. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your support. It's been an honour to serve." They're Kick-Ass. If you're reading these words, that means that shit has hit the fan, and I've either been killed or busted. Either way, you are now the sole heir to all the cool things I've ever owned. If I have been arrested or imprisoned by our pathetic liberal justice system, I've left specific instructions on how to help me escape. I've left you $2 million in cash, and all my weaponry, vehicles, and crime fighting equipment, plus detailed schematics of any high security institute where the authorities might be holding me. My dad always taught me to plan ahead, and I've updated this info on a regular basis. Now I appreciate that a jailbreak is an enormous ask, especially for a superhero trying to make a name for themselves. But come on, have I ever actually offed a goon who didn't deserve it twice as bad? It's a joke that they throw the book at me, when there's so many actual fucking psychopaths preying on innocent people out there. Now I want you to lie low for a few weeks, and familiarise your team with the profiles, shift schedules, and security footage I've put together. This isn't going to be easy, but if you train hard and prep properly, there's no reason that you shouldn't have me out of here and walking on the streets again very soon. I know it sounds tough, but we specialise in the impossible. and there's nobody I trust more with my rescue. P.S. Spend any of that money on comic books and I will nail your goddamn testicles to the floor.
Okay, Hit Girl, relax yourself.
As the guys gather around and read Hit Girl's testimony she left behind, they think it's insane. But Dave tells them they don't have a choice. Where would they even start though? By doing exactly what she says, Dave sternly says. Lay low for a while, then get the band back together. 6 weeks later, outside the prison walls, Dave asks one last time if they're all up for this, and they say it will be an honour to break Hit Girl out of prison. They planned everything down to the last detail. They've trained for ages now. It's go time. They have duplicate swipe cards for all the doors, smoke bombs, sonic alarms, everything non-lethal they could think of. If everything goes well, they should be back here in 14 minutes flat. Justice forever, they shout in unison. Now let's go and get our Hit Girl back. As they approach, they feel the intimidation of the task at hand creeping in. The walls are so huge, but the more they stare, the more they get cold feet. Dr. Gravity says he's going to have a panic attack. Even Dave says he's a bit nervous, but that's when the guard shouts, "What the hell's going on over there?" And they immediately ditch the plan and sprint back to their cars. Dr. Gravity even leaving his trusty staff behind, while Mindy sits alone, all wrapped up in her cold cell. They reach their cars and ditch the costumes, saying Mindy will just have to wait. They'll come back when they're more trained. In the meantime, they will say they're fighting crime in her honour. I'll name their new headquarters after her. Yeah, that'll do it. Let her know they haven't forgotten her. Dave tells everyone to get out of there now. You goddamn bunch of pussies. He recognises that they're cowards, but excuses it saying they weren't trained enough. Of course, 6 months later, and they still haven't broken her out. But it's definitely top of their list. Also, this is Dave brooding in front of his parents' grave like a young Bruce Wayne. Or at least, the pictures will make him look like a young Bruce Wayne. He's so pathetic. Eventually life moved on. School ended. Marty moved away to Harvard, while him and Todd landed a gig at a fast food place for the time being. You know, just waiting on their business plans to make them millions. They shared a small shitty apartment. They even got part-time jobs in their favourite comic book shops on the weekend. But even after all he's been through, his dad being murdered, Katie getting attacked, he still has a superhero fetish that can't be satisfied. So why does he still do it? Well, he's messed up Dave Lizewski's life so much, he sort of needs Kick-Ass now more than ever. He even still actively hunts bad guys, even entering a bar full of known criminals, disabling the lights for dramatic effect, warning men in there that he's investigating some burglaries and to tell him what they know, and they can all go home with teeth tonight. So just to get rid of him, they actually just tell him exactly what he wants. They also don't like the guy, so they want to see him get arrested by Kermit the Frog, they say. Then poof, the lights go back out and he's gone. Later, as Kick-Ass is literally dangling from a rooftop, he feels so badass. Ass Kicker is waiting at the man's front door, so they can attack from 2 angles to throw the criminal off. He gets ready to break the door down, while Kick-Ass swings out as far as possible and smashes through the front window directly into the apartment, almost fucking himself up in the process. They find the criminal, who is not even conscious right now. He's off his tits on some drugs. They make sure he's okay and arrest him, and then they leave their new business card, but he spelled friendly wrong. They call the cops and then they flee the scene. Back at their new base, tensions are starting to rise. It's been weeks since they arrested anyone, and a new hero called Juicer has basically just moved in and is living there rent-free. He's leaving all of his shit everywhere. It's a mess. He says it's only until he gets back on his feet. But Dave says he can't just lie around and play video games all day. He says he's not, and he's training. But what's he training for, a pie eating contest? Hit Girl would lose her shit if she's seen this. But that's when suddenly the garage door opens and the Hit Girl mobile rolls in. What the fuck? Did she break out? But no, it's just Juice's girlfriend with some groceries. Oh yeah, she moved in too, by the way. Dave said, that's it. This isn't what Justice Forever represents. They need to reassess what it means to be a superhero team. Time to do some actual crime fighting, okay? He's calling a meeting for tomorrow, and failure to attend means automatic expulsion. And Juicer just cracks open a cold one and is sarcastically enthusiastic. Back at their apartment, they aren't exactly living the high life. While he's buttering some sandwiches for his night patrol, Todd is busy trying to get some double dates for him and Dave on some sketchy website. Dave is creeped out by it, but Todd just wants to get some groupies and MILFs. Dave's had enough and says he'll be back at around 3 AM.
"Just be careful, Peter Parker," he shouts after him. "Always am, Aunt May." And while he ditches his normal clothes for his costume, he's ready to patrol the night. But shit, did he leave the iron on upstairs, he thinks? Fuck the iron, bitch. A group of thugs have surrounded Dave, but he's not the same little shy kid anymore. They tell him it's a robbery and they want all of his stuff, but he's kick-ass, motherfucker. But eventually the fact that it's a 6 against 1 outweighs his martial arts skills, and he gets his teeth kicked in, like always. They're about to strip him clean, but that's when someone in a car drives close by, directly at them, and they all bolt, but not before taking Dave's dad's watch. The concerned citizen jumps out and helps Dave up. She's a nurse and wants to take him to the hospital, but he says he's fine. Ever since he got hit by a car, he can't really feel pain. She says, "Well, at least let me drive you home." And he eventually agrees. Besides, it's the least she can do, when he's the only one out there keeping the streets safe. She asks if this is a regular thing, and he says no, not since he upped his training. He learned to go straight for the alpha male of the group, but he just got tired back there. She asks about his team, and he tells her they're actually back in business, big time, especially with the mob making a resurgence. Then she asks if he lives around here, but he won't answer the question. You know, the whole secret identity and all. He's learned his lesson from the last time. After a while, he says she can let him out. He can walk from here. Well, she says, it was a pleasure meeting a real-life superhero. Her name is Valerie, and he says his name is Kick-Ass, but she's well aware of that. Look after yourself, Kick-Ass. You too, Valerie. Later we meet up with an unlikely character, Chris, aka Red Mist's mom, and how she's dealing with life now that her supervillain's son's crimes have been exposed to the world. Now everyone knows who she is. In the past, her husband, the mobster, murdered people. At least there was a reason for it though. And yeah, people whispered here and there. But her son opened fire on innocent children and civilians. Now people literally spit in her face walking down the street. Since that day, she's moved 3 different times, but people still recognise her everywhere she goes. She wants to leave, but unfortunately for her, Chris is still alive. And it's her duty as a mother to take care of him. At the hospital, a man named Rocco is there, checking up on Chris. He'll apparently be out in a week. It's a miracle. Don Rocco took care of everything. But how? Chris literally murdered dozens of people with countless witnesses. But Don Rocco says all they saw was a boy in a mask, and one of his soldiers took the blame. Now Chris is free. They might even sue the state for wrongful imprisonment. You can do that, she says. But he's Rocco Genovese. He can do whatever the fuck he wants. Isn't that right, Captain Vic, he says. And on the way out, Rocco feels up the security guard, telling his men to bring him to his house for dinner later this evening. He wants a little spice right now. The city is his. Ciao for now, he says, and he'll see Officer Hegarty tonight. That is one powerful man. Chris and his mom can't believe he's getting out. But Chris continues to whine on, telling her how hard things are for him. How hard things are for him? She didn't grow him for 9 months to watch him turn into the Joker. His father only killed for business. He killed for fun. She won't leave just yet. Not until she's fulfilled her responsibilities. And put him in the ground where he belongs. At Hit Girl's secret base, they're discussing the new big dog in town, Rocco Genovese. He's the eldest of the 3 brothers who inherited New York from their father in '89. But Rocco was by far the most feared one back in the day. But he got erased from the history books and shipped back to Sicily because he was too much for the family to handle. He was crazy. He had a taste for young blonde men, and the mob aren't the most liberal group of people out there. The only reason he's back is that he's the most ruthless motherfucker on the planet, and ever since Hit Girl started slaughtering their whole gang, they're running short on leaders. His nickname was the Iceman, because anyone who disappointed him got an ice pick through the skull. He's only been there 2 weeks, and there's talks that he plans to build a super mob, encompassing every criminal gang on the entire East Coast. This is the guy Kick-Ass wants to intimidate. But he says they have to. While Hit Girl's in prison, they have to let them know they're not afraid. Dr. Gravity says sure, but he's not killing anyone. And neither is Dave. He's talking Batman type rules. He wants to recreate that scene from Batman Year 1 where he busts in on the mob to show his dominance. You know, the moment where all the underworld are together, having dinner, and Batman blows a hole in the wall and hits them with a spooky speech. He wants to do it at Chris's get out of jail party this weekend and do that exact literal scene. He's picturing the whole thing right now in his head. Him busting in through all the smoke, all badass like, And it actually sounds cool. And they have the equipment to do it too. But Juicer butts in, offering a less deadly approach, saying how they can just catch some online trolls. You know, because did he forget about the whole fact that they are literally banned from wearing costumes in public anymore? But Dave and the gang don't want to fight internet trolls. They want to do the Batman Year 1 thing instead. Juicer calls him the big H-man, if you know what I mean. And he says, yeah, maybe he is, but just a more awesome version of him. Saying you know where the door is if you object. But Juicer is fine, just exactly where he is. At the hospital, Chris and the janitor are just talking, chatting away about X-Men and stuff. But isn't he a supervillain, the man asks? But he wasn't always, he says. He never planned to do all of this. All he ever wanted to be when he was growing up was a superhero. But he somehow ended up as Dr. Doom. Downstairs, his mom walked in with a Glock in her hand. The janitor tells Chris, you know, my brother and I used to be superheroes. We actually formed a team back in the day. But before that, they used to work as leg breakers for the mob. We did a few jobs for your father back in the day, actually. You remember Sal Bertoloni? Of course, you might know him better as Colonel. Oh shit. He puts his giant hand over Chris's mouth. He's finally about to get his comeuppance for all the bad things he did. He says he hopes he's sorry for everything he did, and he hopes God will have mercy on his soul. Chris fights for his life as the man continues to push harder and harder to squeeze the life from his lungs. But suddenly Chris's mom swings open the door and sees the struggle. What the hell? Mom! What the fuck? In solitary confinement, Mindy is being interviewed by a psychiatrist. He's going to try and rehabilitate her. Her last two doctors quit on the spot, and she was moved down to this cell for the safety of other inmates after she incited a few riots. He's not going to tell her shit like, complete this course and she'll be out in a week, because that's a lie. He wants her to see her mom again, and maybe even replace her cellmate that met his unfortunate end. He begins talking about some problems, but that's when Mindy sparks up a cigarette. How did she get that? But they're apparently his, what? She tells him that there's a person in there dealing drugs in her prison, when she strictly forbade it. Your prison, the man shouts? She wants him to tell him, if he doesn't stop, she'll slice off his junk. She runs a clean prison now, ever since she took over the gangs. Drug abuse and other obscene things are a capital offence now. He's flabbergasted at all this information. She tells him not to be fooled by the cage. She comes and goes as she pleases, and she can dish out punishment at any time she likes. The cameras don't matter to her, as she puts his cigarette out on her palm, disappearing into the darkness. Now be a good boy and tell Mr. Schutz he needs to keep his fucking nose clean. In Midtown, Dave and Valerie are on a date in a local coffee shop, and Dave has a full costume on, being a big full kit wanker. But you can never be too safe, he says. They're talking about life and how she's sort of a superhero too. She saves lives as a nurse. Why can't he do that? And he says, to be honest, without the costume, he's pretty lame. But she doesn't believe him. But before they can continue, he realizes he's late for the raid rehearsal. Seriously, she says. But he's deadly serious. They plan to meet again, and he says he's had an awesome time, and he can't wait to see her again. Also, his real name is Dave. See ya. Oh my god, he just can't help himself, can he? He never learns. Back in solitary, a man just had his junk cut off. She did warn him, to be fair. But the doctor says he knows Mindy didn't touch him. He has her on camera in her cell all day. She tells him superheroes can phase through walls, don't you know? But nah, she just uses her reputation to get what she wants. Also, she's drinking whiskey and smoking again. Just some Jack Daniels, with some weekly comic books and some Hello Kitty cards. She fucking loves Hello Kitty. She also tells him she only plans to be here until the weekend. In a strip club somewhere, they're all celebrating Chris's coming home party. They're so proud of him. But his uncle pulls him to the side and tells him he knows he's weak, but he wants to make him stronger. But for now, he wants him to go enjoy some vanilla sex, as he calls it. Him himself, well, he likes to get his stick a bit muddy. He also got him a GPS, so he can keep tabs on him at all times. Outside, Kick-Ass and the gang are setting up their Batman Year 1 scene, with some small landmines placed on the wall. Hit Girl and Big Daddy had so much cool gear. Even his friend Marty came down from college for this special moment. Dave has his speech memorized and all. But that's when someone dressed as a dog comes out to interrupt them, holding a donation bucket for dogs' homes close by. They're trying not to put healthy dogs down, and they need to raise $1 million. But they're literally in the middle of a bombing. Such bad timing. But Dave says no, it's cool. They're still superheroes. They never ignore a cry for help, and they all start searching for some change. Meanwhile, while they're looking, two guards just so happen to wander into the place where they're hiding and are surprised as fuck. And they all just fucking leg it. All of them except Dave and Marty. Dave actually takes them down pretty easily. He's gotten so much better at this. But that's when more arrive and he can't outrun a bullet. They pointed at his face, saying give him one reason not to blow his brains out. And Dave simply says, the detonator, of course. What? He shouts. This isn't amateur hour anymore. The whole place erupts into smoke and fire, while Dave runs for his life. They follow him blasting in every direction, but they can't just shoot everywhere. And while he's running, they give chase. He leaps from car to car, then eventually to the back of a bus. But he's losing his grip and can't hold on much longer. He falls and lands on a busy road. They spot him and close in, but that's when a van appears in front of him and he lays flat on the ground. What the fuck is life, he thinks. It goes over him and he vanishes. Where did he go, the men think. Meanwhile, inside the van, how long did you practice that little trick for? 241 times. Now let's get the hell out of here. As the police surround the vehicle, after hearing the shots ring out, a homeless man looks on. But what is he looking at? It's Dave still clinging to the bars underneath the truck. The guy says he gave him some beer money once. Shh, Dave says quietly. But the man has got his back. At the club, they're assessing the damages. But that's when he says to the corrupt cop, I thought you handled all these costume clowns. But he tells him they did ban them, but they've been taking it easy since Hit Girl got locked up. But he promises to take care of it. Then he asks who the head of security was tonight, and they point to a man named Jimmy. Rocco wants him brought down to the meatpacking district immediately, and everyone else to get the fuck out of his sight. Back at HQ, Juicer is holding auditions to be on the team, even though he's barely on the team. There's this guy called Skyboard. He created a wingsuit. Wait, can you fly? Juicer asks excitedly. But he says no, not at the moment. But he cuts him off, saying a bored man that can't fly is like an Olympic athlete with stage 4 AIDS. But that's when the gang return and Dave discovers what's taking place, and he's absolutely livid. Juicer was supposed to be at the raid tonight, he says, but he's not interested in their little fanboy fantasies. He's got his own ideas on how to fight crime, and that's when Dave notices. Juicer commissioned a painting of the gang on their wall and left out Dave. Juicer's funny, man. But Dave doesn't find it funny at all, snapping at him, saying he has until tomorrow to get out, or he's going to throw his shit on the street. Is this a joke? Juicer says. No, why would it be? Dave snaps back. He's been leeching off him for over 6 months, and he basically does nothing for the crew. He's had enough with everything. Why would they bust their asses and pay their own way, when he can just lay around living rent free? What power does he even have? Does that backpack you always wear even work, he says? Oh, it works alright, he calmly says as he turns it on, lighting up the dark room. 240 volts courses through his suit, into his hands. You want a little taste, he asks? But Dave says you're just embarrassing yourself right now. Just get the hell out of here and stop taking advantage of us. His girlfriend overhears the commotion, asking if she's getting kicked out. Of course you are, Dave says. All you do is sit around and watch Game of Thrones all day. But one of the others chimes in and says, if he does this, he loses him too. Shut the fuck up, man. Who even are you? Why are you picking him? This is Justice Forever's civil war. But Justice says it's worse than that. Your asshole friend just created his own Magneto. Dave can't believe he just said that out loud, as they both leave for the final time. Not cool, Dave, Night Bitch says. But what can she even be mad about? The guy was a loser. The 3 golden rules of being a superhero. Always keep your costume clean. Tell nobody your secret identity. And never ignore a cry for help. The bomb last night ruined his suit. He does what he can to put it back together again. But his roommate is having sex next door and it's too distracting. And what makes it worse is that it's with his old biology teacher. But he can't get distracted, there's so much stuff he has to do. Like break Hit Girl out. Rocco has all the cops in the city in his pocket. And Red Mist was laughing in the face of all those people he murdered by walking free. Even worse, the team split up ever since that argument with Juicer. They say he handled it wrong, but he was done letting people take advantage of him. But the only upside he has right now is Valerie. He even went to see her place for the first time. Big cat lady. But that's fine with him. Dave keeps getting distracted. He never knew she had a hearing aid before. She lets him touch it and... from there, well, things get a bit spicy. A bit too spicy for YouTube, that is. If you want to go see it, it's like full on. Go look it up. In a meat factory downtown, Rocco is making Chris beat the fuck out of the security guard from the other night. He needs him to get his hands dirty to understand the family business. He apologises to Jimmy, but it's him or Chris. There's going to be big changes around here, his uncle says. He's going to rule over everyone. The Russians, the Colombians. As long as they're making money, they'll accept him as their master. They already paid off the cops. Why not other gangs? And that's when he pulls out a gold ice pick. Each notch on the side represents a kill. He's had 98 so far. And Hit Girl's going to be number 100. In the prison, Hit Girl finally gets tied down, but not before she took out 3 cop dogs and hospitalised 11 guards, and smashed up the whole south wing. They had to put 2 bullets in her thigh to stop her. As she's getting wheeled through the halls, the other prisoners cheer for her. They love her in there, but she screams at them, saying the next man who claps is getting his throat ripped out, understand? And then there was silence. The doctor asks why she's doing all this. He thought there was some morality behind her actions. Up yours, she screams. He asks if she's angry because she got her stepfather demoted. Does she want him to bring her mother in? You bring my mother in here and I will gouge out your eyes and skull f*** you, asshole. Okay, well, that definitely struck a nerve. At the Doherty cop's house, him and the other cops are discussing how Rocco was getting out of control. If he pulls this gang thing off, he'll control from Maine to Florida. He wants to be Caesar. Tonight it was Jimmy, but tomorrow it could be any of them. The main guy Vic says he's got an idea, but the others are still worried. Ripping off Rocco would mean certain death. He'll know it's them, but not if they just do what every other person in the city is doing. Not if they just wear costumes.
Sorry to interrupt, but if you haven't already, could you please try and click the hype button on this? I'm not too sure what it fully does yet, but if you're subscribed, you can click hype and smaller creators like myself can get higher up in the algorithm and my video gets promoted to more people. Only if you like it. If you don't, it's okay. I really appreciate it. Now back to the video.
You have to watch this. This is genuinely one of the coolest things I've ever seen. How did it end up online? One of the Skull and Bones gang must have filmed it, I guess. Turn the sound up, seriously. You need to hear what they're saying. The big guy at the front is a total badass. Inside a trap house, a gang of criminals count their money. What the f***? They just took them all out, except for 2. One hiding behind a chair, and the other to ask how much money is on the table. 60 grand, he says. Now, no other reason to keep him alive. They're sending a message to all criminals out there. They're gonna take every cent they make and give it back to the community, Robin Hood style. But not really. Also, end global warming now. Nice touch. Everyone thinks they're legit now. Even Justice Forever thinks they're cool. They say they need to team up with these guys, but they're literally making a difference, while their team just sit around and talk about doing stuff. Dr. Gravity is right though. They need to get back out there and bust some heads again. They even printed out some tweets of people asking for help, just like what Kick-Ass did back in the day. One of them asks Todd if he thinks he'll actually show up tonight to the meeting, considering he's missed every meeting since the fight with Juicer. Oh, he'll be there, Ass-Kicker says confidently. But he's a bit busy right now. Him and Valerie are going at it like rabbits lately. Every cent he makes goes on condoms and lube. He cancelled all his plans. He ignored all his calls and only focused on texting Valerie. In short, he kind of lost his mind. But for the first time in ages, he was genuinely happy. But even she tells him he should call his friends back. She doesn't want them thinking she's stopping him from hanging out with them. But he'd rather stay in bed with her. It's like he's lost all ambition to throw a punch. Maybe it's grief, he thinks. He only got into superheroes when his mom died. The tougher life got, the more obsessed he became. But now he was just enjoying being him. He feels like he doesn't need an escape anymore. She tells him she doesn't like the idea of him not being happy. But as you can tell, by the look on his face, he's very happy right now. But the more he hung out with her, the more his best friend didn't like it. It's almost like he's a scroll or something. He's been a completely different person lately. He asks him outright, "Are you giving this superhero thing up for a normal, boring life?" "Hell no," he screams. He's going to get Hit Girl out of jail. He will avenge his dad and bust all the crooked cops. He just worries that he caused all of these problems, you know? Like Batman. All the crazies only started showing up when he first put on the costume. Forget that, his friend says. Just promise him he'll come to the meeting on Sunday.
I'll do my best, he promises. And they make up finally. But come Sunday, his head, well, both of his heads are in a different place right now. But he couldn't help himself. The time got away from him. His new life was just so much better. He even gives the dog man from earlier that change he needed. Later in the cinema, him and his girlfriend are watching a movie, but that's when someone starts kicking his seat. But they apologise, so he does nothing. But then it happens again. His girlfriend tells him to ignore them, and he begrudgingly does. But suddenly they kick her chair, and that's it. He completely snaps, jumping up from his seat, and at an unbelievable speed, he appears behind the kids with his hand around their necks, saying he'd like a word. And after they take things outside, he comes back in, and the kids run down to the front as far away from him as possible. It took 19 years, 4 months and a green wetsuit, and several serious beatings. But he was finally the guy he wanted to be. Meanwhile, the Skull and Bones gang were absolutely taking the city by storm, murdering criminals left, right and centre, taking in hundreds of thousands of dollars. Rocco doesn't even suspect a thing, and the only reason they know that is because they're still alive. I want them dead. The Skull and Bones gang, one of his henchmen say. No, everyone in a costume has to die. Go out tonight and kill everyone. He tells Vic just to make sure the cops turn a blind eye. Yes sir, he slyly answers back. Meanwhile, Insect Man is taking out the trash. Oh no. Then while the juicer is demolishing a bacon, egg and cheese, even the poor man in the dog costume raising money for charity. Poor fella, he's not even a superhero. Meanwhile, Dr. Gravity runs into a man that needs help with his tyre. It's just around the corner and through this alley. But no matter what, he will help anyone with anything. So which one's flat, he asks. Rest in peace, poor Dr. Gravity. You are one of the good ones. Back then, when it was just Mindy and her dad, he taught her how to survive in every situation you can imagine. Even what to do when she's tied to some train tracks, and the train is about to run her over. But her being the greatest assassin in the world at just 11 years old means this was literal child's play for her. As she got run over, she avoided being hit, and somehow managed to climb onto the side of the train without having her arms completely ripped from their sockets. All she had to do now was reach the bridge, where her dad was waiting for her. She ducked under the tunnel, stood up, and ran like her life depended on it, leaping off the last carriage, grabbing onto the bridge. Mission completed. And her daddy always gives her a present after a mission. This time she gets to watch Commando, her first Arnold Schwarzenegger movie, the one with all the cursing included. Awesome, she thinks. Yeah, that's fine and good, the doctor says, but let's move on to the murders now if you don't mind. You mean executions, Mindy says? But no, executions implies some kind of state-sanctioned death. What she was doing is just killing on a whim. He wants her to tell her earliest memories of the atrocities she's committed. She begins telling him how she used to prepare for a kill by shopping for all her goodies. But he doesn't mean that. He wants him to tell her about the first time she took a life. Do you remember? He asks. Of course she does. Meanwhile, outside the glass, her mother and stepfather watch on in horror. Inside, she seems a bit uncomfortable, and she admits she is, because she blew her first assignment and let her father down. They were in South Asia somewhere, and she was stationed in an apartment across the road with a sniper. Should have been an easy first kill. Local kingpin was in the middle of banging some whores. All she had to do was pull the trigger, but she choked. She had a clean shot, but she froze like an amateur. She could feel her daddy's disappointment. Then the same thing happened again, when all she had to do was plug a pimp in an alley behind a restaurant. His arms were broken. It couldn't have been easier, but she couldn't do it. She literally started shaking. So her dad had to finish the job. It happened multiple more times after that too. She had a problem, but she knew her dad would find a solution. His next idea was his best yet. He caught some sex tourists from America visiting Thailand, where the laws for CP are a bit lackadaisy. He won't find anyone who deserves a bullet more. She asks why are they wearing masks of supervillains this time. He says just to make things a bit more fun. They tried to beg and apologise, but that's when he shoots his gun in the air and says you have 60 seconds to run and hide. Then his kid and him will come find them and kill them. They bolt into the jungle. "You nervous?" he asks. "A little," she stares back at him. But he reminds her that this is what she's been training for. He's got a great surprise for her if she pulls this off. She always felt bad when she failed. She tells him her father hated heroes that didn't carry guns, calling Spider-Man a liberal asshole. He raised her to be more like the Punisher. But a sound interrupted her thought. "Daddy?" She looks to the left and sees 4 men standing over her beaten father. They scream at her to drop the weapon, but her dad screams back saying, "Don't you dare, they'll kill us both." Headshots, all 4 of them, now. It's the only way you'll get out of this, sweetheart. They tell him to shut up, and he just keeps making the situation worse by squirming and shouting. "You have seconds," he screams. "Dude, do you want to die?" "What the?" "That's my girl," he calmly says. He knew she could do it if she had to save her pops. So he let them capture him? Of course he did. You think he couldn't handle 4 random perverts? He just knew she wouldn't let him down. Now for her surprise. "What's this?" she asks. "Well, it's her very own superhero costume. This is the perfect moment for it. The night you executed your 4th supervillain." Was she angry at him? He asks. Of course she wasn't. That was a great way for her to get over her performance anxiety. The doctor asks, does she think the reason she hesitated was that she thought killing was morally wrong? Well, so why haven't you let your mother see you since he came here? Back then, she started crying. He asks her what's wrong. "Wouldn't mommy be angry with me killing people?" she asks. "No, not if it's putting bad people in the ground. Mommy would be very proud," he says. But she wasn't proud. She wasn't even dead. The reason she doesn't want her to see her is because she might think she's a bad person, now that she knows everything. But that's when he reveals that she's been watching and listening the whole time. All he asks is that she sees her mother for 5 minutes, just this once. "Sure, why the hell not?" she finally says. And when she finally comes in, she tells her she's been listening. It's so hard for her to wrap her head around everything. She tells her how she got a job recently. She's gotten her strength back. When she was gone, she barely left the house. But the only reason she's had the strength recently to get back out there is because part of me created you, she says. She's not weak. Mindy has done things people can only dream of. You fought the mafia, drug dealers, evil dirty cops who make people's lives a misery. You're the most wonderful daughter I could ever imagine, and I don't want you thinking I'd ever be ashamed of you. The truth is, I couldn't be prouder, and I feel a little stronger each day just being around you. Get that lunatic out of there, the doctor screams. She tells her she loves her, and she believes she's going to get back out there and continue to do what she does best. They try and drag her out, but she's not having it. Her husband is so embarrassed. She tells her never to stop fighting, no matter what. The whole family is just in the head. Later, Ass Kicker is being chased down by the mob. He tries his best to get away. He doesn't want to end up like the rest of the heroes. They shot him in the arse. They don't kill him though. They're gonna use him to track down the Skull and Bones crew. You're the leader of the superheroes, right? But I think they're mixing up Ass Kicker with Kick-Ass. They throw him in their car and drive away. Dave sees the news and tries to call his friend, but to no avail. He leaves a message saying, whatever you do, don't wear a mask anymore. But he fears the worst. So he writes his girlfriend a note and takes her car keys and bolts out to find his friend. Meanwhile in the prison, Mindy is being served food, and she tells the guards she's smiling because she won't be in here for much longer. She starts telling them about her plans to escape, but it definitely won't be tonight, as they inject her neck. At Rocco's house, they discuss security, as the head of every gang on the East Coast will be there tonight. They tell him they've wiped out 90% of all superheroes in the city, and Christopher is on his way to Hit Girl as they speak. They turned off all the CCTV in the prison, and paid off all the guards. They gave her 10 milligrams of midazolam. She basically can't move for 90 minutes. That's what happens when you piss off the mob. It might take a while, but they have a nasty habit of getting you in the end. Isn't that right, Christopher? Absolutely. Oh, fuck. As the men stand over her, she's helpless to do anything.
She's drugged and bound. It looks like it's over. They ask him if he's ready for the big kill. Totally, he says back. You sure you won't choke your big moment? Not a chance. Suddenly he turns around and starts shooting the other gang members. What the fuck is he doing? But he doesn't finish one of them off, and they get a shot off, hitting him in the hip. Shit. Mindy asks what the hell he's doing. Saving your ass, what does it look like? Now come on, let's get out of here. Why is he doing this? But in the city, Kick-Ass is roaming the streets searching high and low for his friend, but he's nowhere to be found. But that's when he gets a text from someone he never thought he'd see again. What the hell is going on? The guards in the prison see them both escape, but they've been paid off so they don't care. They speed off in a car, but it's lashing rain and he's shit at driving. If that stomach wound doesn't kill you, the driving will, Mindy screams. But he tells her to shut up and listen. He texted Kick-Ass and told him where to meet them. He knows everything that happened tonight. It's the phone the mob gave him. It has a GPS, and he shared his location with Kick-Ass. But she doesn't give a fuck. She just wants to know why he's doing this. Isn't he a supervillain? He tells her to just tell his mom he's sorry. She was the one nice thing he had in life, and he screwed hers up. But that's when a lorry comes out of nowhere, sending them off the edge, crashing into the water. Meanwhile, back at the prison, the guards finally found the scene they left behind. And while they're sitting at the bottom of the lake, her father's voice echoed in her head. She's transported back to when they did underwater drills, when she had to hold her breath for a long time. Right now her heart is about to explode. But suddenly she's brought back from the grip of the Grim Reaper, getting her head to the only air left in the car. She wiggles free of her restraints and pulls Chris's gun from his belt, shooting the glass, dragging herself and him to the surface. But when she gets there, she's absolutely fucked. She can't move. Why did she save him, he asks. But she just needs his cell phone. How else will Kick-Ass find her? Before she leaves him for dead, he tells her one last bit of info. Tell Kick-Ass that they have his friend in a meatpacking warehouse. Got it, she says, as she crawls away in the mud. Hit girl, Chris squeaks out with his dying breath. Do you forgive me for all the bad things I did? Don't be fucking ridiculous. Yeah, fuck him. Later the guards find the crash site, then Chris's body. He's dead for sure this time. They spread out. They need to find Hit Girl. But just a few meters over, she's struggling to move. Those drugs really fucked her up. But that's when one of them spots her. Oh no. He calls it in and then tells the others. She's no issue. She still can't move. She tried to pick up a stick to defend herself, but she's way too weak, and he knows it. He's being all sarcastic. Is he in danger now that she has a big badass stick in her hand? No, because my friend's got one too. Fuck you, fatty. He crawls and reaches for his gun, but Dave steps on his arm, then his head, then absolutely caves his skull in. You okay? Dave asks. There's no time to suck each other off. They need to get out of there. At Rocco's house, they ask him if he's sure he wants to go ahead with everything, knowing Hit Girl is on the loose again. He would never cancel because of some child, he says. Everyone is arriving. It's time for a single mob boss to control everything from Maine to Miami. Back at their HQ, she gets a little emotional, being back there for the first time since she was locked up. Dave asks if she's strong enough for tonight, but she'll be fine. Her dad left her every drug on the planet. The stuff they gave her is already neutralized. But that's when Dave's girlfriend calls. She asks what he's doing. She asks him to stop all this craziness, but she needs to understand. To rescue Todd, he needs to be Kick-Ass, and Hit Girl will only have one shot at taking down every major crime lord on the eastern seaboard. If they don't, they'll be looking over their shoulders for the rest of their lives. One last job. She says she's calling the police. Hit Girl just wants him back in that costume. She won't be happy until they're both in the morgue. He tells her she can't. The cops, they're all corrupt. Now please, I promise you, this is the last time he'll ever do this. I'll be back in a couple of hours, he says. Girl trouble? Hit Girl asks. Kind of. She tells him to save it for someone who gives a shit. They've got bad guys to take down. Now get into costume and head to the lower level. Where the fuck did she get a spare costume? She's Hit Girl. She's prepared for everything. He also didn't know about a lower level,
But that's when she flicks up Shakespeare's head and presses the revealed button, opening a secret passage with 2 firemen's poles sitting there. To the hit cave! At the meatpacking house, they're dragging Todd to his death. And at the police station, they just got a call from a woman and she told them where Kick-Ass and Hit Girl will be. And while they're finishing sliding down their poles, she reveals the lower level to the HQ. How did they afford all of this? It's huge! But she tells them they robbed a lot of rich drug dealers. Now it's time for him to take the daddy car, and she will take the hit boat. They'll reconvene in a few hours, after he rescues Todd, and she takes down the mob. But he says, why does he have a horrible feeling that they're never going to see each other again? Because you're a little pussy, Dave. But in all seriousness, they pull each other close and hug for what may be the last time, telling each other to be careful. She's got this weird feeling tonight though. She tells him maybe now he's just got something to lose. This is everything they dreamed about. Even if they don't survive this final adventure, they're both going down as superheroes. She throws her bag into the boat saying, that means we can't lose. See you in the funny pages, and zooms away. I hope to hell you're right. Why do I have such a bad feeling about this? Why do I think this is all going to end with me lying dead with a caved in skull? At the Genovese Mafia Summit, all the Mafia heads are there. It's time to begin. Outside there's more security than Fort Knox. But that's when they spot a random boat floating in the water. Must have floated up the river. You must be wondering why I left you alive, huh? Well, the truth is, I need you up on that roof for what comes next, and you're way too heavy for a 96-pound girl. The man looks around him and sees explosives planted everywhere. Oh, don't worry, that's for later. Now, start climbing up that drain pipe, she yells. At the meatpacking warehouse, they're beating the fuck out of Ass Kicker. They're about to cut him to pieces for the names of the Skull and Bones crew, but he genuinely doesn't know who they are. Meanwhile, outside, Kick-Ass has the whole outer wall rigged with tiny explosives. It's almost time for his Batman Year 1 moment to finally come true. Back at the mob meetup, he tells everyone he's brought them here today to witness the death of the little girl that's been causing him so much issues. Her termination will usher in a new era under his command. He even has a headstone ready for when his nephew buries his golden ice pick into her skull. This living room will be her final resting place. But they sort of jump at the mention of her name. She's like the boogeyman, saying, wait, she's in the building now? Not yet, he reassures them, but she's been drugged and bound, en route as they speak. She'll be no threat to anyone in her current condition. But little do they know what's happening up above their heads. Down below, the others say that they haven't even agreed to this super gang thing. They just agreed to come and talk. Rocco says the Sicilians are just more adept at this whole mob shit. Much more than all of your inferior races. Look at the Roman Empire. What did they do to those who stood in their way of progress? Or Starbucks for those of you that don't know history. One of them says fuck this and begins leaving. But leave the room and your boy Pedro dies. He's been taken to an undisclosed location, along with the oldest children of each of your respected families. They won't be harmed. All they have to do is play ball. Let's just call it an insurance policy. Up above, she drags the tied up man to the sky window. This isn't a vote we're having here tonight. It's a well-planned coronation. I'm sorry, sir. She made me do it. Huh? The whole place erupts into flames and smoke. They all rush to the doors, but they're locked. It's showtime. Meanwhile, Kick-Ass is praying to God that he promises to quit. Just help him this one last time. Lights, smoke bombs, showtime. Ladies and gentlemen, you have eaten well. You have feasted on New York's wealth and spirit. But your feast is nearly over. From this moment on, none of you are safe. She tells everyone to stop freaking out about the gas. It won't kill them.
It's just hallucinogenic toxin. She only released it to make her seem scarier. The gas is just for fun. They should be scared of the bullets. Back at the warehouse, Kick-Ass is pinned down, having the life drained from his eyes, when Todd shouts for him to grab the chainsaw, but he's never killed anyone, and he's not about to start. Fuck it, I guess. At Rocco's house, the only two left alive are him and her. She picks up his golden pickaxe, making fun of him. She says he has to be freaking out right now. She bets the hallucinogens are making things 100 times worse. She wonders what he's saying right now. Rocco Genovese is scared of nothing, he mutters. Well, that's because we only just met. At the warehouse, Dave did it. He beat the two guys. He's about to start celebrating, but more guys rush in after hearing the commotion. At the Mafia meetup, Hit Girl is about to make her getaway. Well, well, well. Aren't you a sight for sore eyes? It's the cops. He says she looks tired. It's Vic Gigante and the crooked cops from the Skull and Bones crew. He tells her it turns out some concerned citizen informed him what the plan was going to be here tonight. It's just a shame that the bad cops happen to be the one to answer the calls. He tells her not to try anything, or they'll just riddle her full of bullets. Then says she actually did him a favour. Killing all those gang members leaves a giant hole for him to fill. She can think about that when she's bleeding out on the ground, he says. He's gonna be king now. As Dave lays there getting beat the fuck up, he thinks of course it has to end this way. There was always going to be a bigger gang. He knew it the second he bought the suit. But he still can't believe it's happening. He was so close to quitting. All that stuff back there at the cave, the fist bumps, the team ups, it all seems so cool. Now it's just ridiculous. He curses the comic books that inspired him to do this, as his teeth and bones get cracked. What a waste of a life. Wishing he was Spider-Man or Batman, all the useless knowledge in his head. Why did his parents encourage this behaviour? He flashes back to those moments, as his life flashes before his eyes. Memories of his mother telling him how comics got him through hard times. It was his escapism. All that optimism instilled in those 22 pages. Superheroes were a monthly reminder that every tight spot had a workable solution. That includes right now. Think, Dave. What would Batman do in this situation? He's right. He's got padded boots, padded gloves, he's wrapped in an insulated wetsuit, rolling around in conductive alcohol. Reach for the sky, he shouts to Todd, as he grabs a broken plug. Todd is off the ground. Fuck. Back with Hit Girl. She's smiling while there's a gun pointed at her head. She's picturing all the crooked cops screaming in pain while she murders them in a few seconds. Have you lost your mind, he says. But she's been 10 steps ahead this whole time. Who do you think made that call to lure you here, assholes? Bullshit, he says. He knows she's bluffing. They've got 100 guns, and you've got nothing. Nothing. Except my detonator. What? You guys really should be careful where you park. Oh shit. Now I might be tired, and I might be wounded. It has really been a long and bloody night. She says the day she can't take care of an idiot like him is the day she hangs up her mask. You see, you've still got one final use for the forces of justice, Captain Vic Gigante. And I've got all night to explain it. After everything, Todd is in the hospital recovering, while Dave and his girlfriend talk outside. She heard about everything. They left 120 corpses behind in their wake. She says this isn't going to end, is it? Dave and Hit Girl are too addicted to this life. It's like that scene from Spider-Man 2, where he tells his girlfriend they can't be together anymore, cause he's got a curse, and they'll be in danger forever. This is the part where he tells her about his responsibilities as a superhero. Is she crazy, he says? That's never going to happen. He chooses her 100 times over. He told her he's done, and he means it. He doesn't break his promises. But what about the bad guys, she says. Didn't she hear? All the bad guys are dead. The funny thing is, he wasn't joking. Mindy killing everyone left the gang splintered, and they were easy pickings for the NYPD. Mindy's stepdad Marcus took over and removed all the crooked cops. And the only survivor of the boathouse massacre was Vic Gigante, and he gave everyone up. Nobody knows what happened to him that night, and he won't tell either. He just happens to be 60 pounds lighter for some reason. Dave never saw Hit Girl again after that day, but he knew she was out there. Every time he opened the newspaper, he found her and saw unexplained deaths of gangsters all across the world. She lived in the shadows, but he knew she was okay, because her mother still received flowers on Mother's Day, and on Father's Day, her dad's grave was full too. Mindy's mom actually became best friends with Chris's mom, bonding over their combined trauma of their children and all that. Dave got a full-time job and moved in with Valerie. He felt bad leaving Todd on his own, so he just left him to Justice Forever HQ. But Dave never lost his sense of adventure. His kick-ass days were over, but he still wanted to make a difference. He wanted a career where he could still help others. So when Marcus needed fresh recruits to clean up the city, he was forced in line to volunteer. Being a cop means he can still be out there, every night serving and protecting New York. Maybe not in the shadows, but he still had a uniform. A slightly different one this time, but it was still nice. He hasn't given up on superheroes. He's still there every Wednesday for New Comic Book Day. He just feels his time in the spandex is over. Kick-Ass saved him, just like superheroes are supposed to do. Besides, he's not sure he would do well against the new kind of superheroes out there these days. Guys that can break the sound barrier. That lunatic killing cops in Japan. There's crazy things happening across the world. Everything went up a notch since he donned the suit. Kick-Ass reminded people why they needed heroes. He always wondered why no one did it before him. Get inspired by the comics and put on a suit. Is everyday life really that exciting? Come on, be honest with yourself. We all plan to be superheroes at some point in our lives. Meet Paul McHugh. He gets bullied every day in school, but is too weak to do anything about it. They make fun of his dad and his boyfriend, but he just smiles and tries to push it all down. He hates his bullies so much. They make him feel so negative. He's even scared to sleep in case he has a heart attack, and he's only 12. He just prays one night he'll be able to go to sleep and think of something nice. He doesn't want to cry himself to sleep every night anymore. Okay, you little prick. It's time to toughen up. Training begins at 9 tomorrow morning. Boom, baby! It's finally done. I really hope you all enjoyed. This has been a long journey, and I hope you don't mind for me to say that I'm glad it's behind me. The sheer amount of editing hours I put into all 3 parts of this is incredible. Also, this is me, by the way. Ta-da! Face reveal. And this is me as an astronaut. This is me as Kick-Ass. This is me as Hit Girl. But yeah, let me know what you thought. I'll probably upload all 3 together at once into one big combination, and it's probably 2 hours long. I'll post that at some point. But this is the final series of Kick-Ass. There is more out there, but it's just shoot-offs and spin-offs. So let me know what you thought, and if you've been on this journey with me, I really hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe, and don't forget to hype the video. Peace.